And welcome back to me channel. Unless you're new here, and then just welcome. My name is Rusty, and this is me channel where I talk about my favorite movies, mostly horror, and my favorite music, mostly metal. And continuing on with little movies that I want to spotlight and give shout outs to, we have Wildling. This is the Scream Factory master of it. Now, Wildling was released in 2018. Correct? Correct. It was directed by Fritz Böhm and written by Fritz Böhm and Florian Eder. It stars Bel Powley, Brad Dourif, and Liv Tyler. Interesting side trivia. This is Liv Tyler's movie. I mean, she is the sole producer of this movie. So this is actually Liv Tyler's production. She is the sole producer of this film. She also stars in it. And it is a very, very unique, interesting little alternative werewolf film. Because there's no lycanthropy in it. It's a different kind of werewolf. But this movie opens up with a little girl. I guess she was about 5. And she's being told the story of the Wildling by her daddy, whom we later find out's name is Gabe. That's played by Brad Dourif. Bel Powley, of course, is the growner version of this kid. So, you know, she has been raised her entire life. She's never been outside. She is raised in this raised attic-like room. And she's told all of these fanciful fairy tale kind of stuff, which is interesting because that's another of the movies in my list tonight. That kind of thing is also done. But she is never allowed outside. She is told these fanciful stories, but he does educate her. She is very smart, reading, writing, arithmetic, but of course she only has access to whatever he allows her to have. But as far as just basic education, she's very, very smart. So, of course, she continues to age, and what I found interesting about this, and I wrote down that the cinematography reminds me of Company of Wolves. Now, if you've ever seen Company of Wolves, the werewolf movie with Angela Lansbury, it also reminds me a little bit of Red Riding Hood, the horror film Red Riding Hood. So, but especially Company of Wolves. This whole first act was just the way everything was filmed, the shots, it just all reminded me very, very strongly of Company of Wolves. So, as she's getting older, he pretty much keeps her this very innocent and naive thing, but then something happens, and that is she wakes up one day with bloody sheets, which means that she was, I guess, about 12, 13. I don't know. I'm not a girl. I don't know when y'all's cycle begins, but hers began. And he started giving her a shot in the stomach every day. And this went on for 3 years to where her whole stomach looked like a pincushion. It was very, very sick. And of course you're wondering this whole time, who is this dude? What is this situation? Why is this going on? He's not abusing her in any way. Well, that is abuse, but it's from a different place. But he seems to adore her, yet she's shut up in this room. It's very weird. Now, this medicine that he is giving her, it's not to stop that, but it is a drug that also happens to have the side effect of disabling your pituitary gland, slowing down aging, and stopping development. So he's been doing it now for several years. I guess she's now 16, about 16. And she actually, now the main actress takes over, Bel Powley. And she asks him to send her to the better place. And he does come in and he's going to do it. And you're like, I really would like to know what the fuck is going on, right? And he's going to do it, but then he can't. And instead, he sits down on the bed and shoots himself. Well, neighbors heard the shot, and so she wakes up in the hospital. She wakes up in hospital completely freaked. Who are these people? Where am I? She's never been out of this room in 16 years. So they're all very confused. Who is this? They, of course, assume it's Gabe's daughter. They don't know why she's been kept in this place. But so now they have a dilemma. Who do you give her to? She's a juvenile. Who do you give her to? So they take DNA and they want to send her to someplace, but Liv Tyler's character is the sheriff of the town. And she's like, no, I don't think sending her to another cage is appropriate. And the girl is like, I want to go with her. So she agrees to take her while they wait for the DNA results that Mike could give them relatives that could take care of her. So she's introduced to the house, and Liv Tyler's brother lives with her. He's like a senior in high school. So his name is Ray, and her name is Ellen. And she meets all of them, and you get to see a lot of, because now we're in the second act, and you get to see a lot of really interesting stuff that would happen to a person, male or female, but a person that was kept, isolated like that. She's never had her foot on the ground, on the earth. So, she has all of these, you get to experience with her all of these really weird experiences of, stuff like that. Ellen even has to bring her a box of tampons, and she's smelling of it, she doesn't know what to do, right? And she's like, so you experience all of these discoveries of hers, and Ray is kind of an asshole, but he's just like a typical asshole. Ellen is really sweet though. But this girl also starts experiencing other things. In other words, she really is wanting to eat meat all the time. If you give her a hamburger, she takes everything away and just eats the meat. And also physical changes starts happening to her. Her fingernails get these black stripes on them. She has unusually good hearing and vision and strength. Ray is bullied at school by this one guy and his friend, and this actress Bel Powley, she did such a good job of acting like she doesn't know what these things are, and she looked so confused when she seen him punch Ray in the gut, and so she just turned around and did it back to him. And I'm talking, she doubled his ass over. I mean, she's very, very strong. So, one of the girls at school invite her to a party. So they, Ray and her go to this party where she is then, drinks alcohol, and it kind of makes her sick, but she's also feeling weird, and doesn't know why. So she tries to leave. What was it? her and Ray kissed on the dance floor or in the living room. You know what I mean? It's at somebody's house. There's like fucking 60 kids there. But they kiss, and there's blood in her mouth, and she runs to the bathroom, and like one of her teeth had fallen out, and it embarrassed her, so she left out the window. Well, that asshole bully from school, he tries to, he follows her in the woods. He tries to grape her, and she turns around and she eats his throat out and then takes off. So now the movie shifts to the third act, and that is that, what the fuck, right? So he's laying there dead, and he's found. She takes off. She goes back to Ellen eventually for help, but by this time they had found his body, and they had found her dress that she was wearing by him because he had ripped it off of her during the attempt. So Ellen does hug her, but she also slaps handcuffs on her. It's like, your dress, dead body, come on. Now it's at this time that you start kind of suspecting the deputy of, like, he seems to know something. And then she is visited by Gabe. Turns out he's alive. It didn't kill him. It just like blew part of his face off, and so he doesn't look too good, but he's alive. He comes and visits her and actually gives her a shot, to go to the better place. He's like, here, take this, and you know what's best to do. And she's like, why did you do this? Why did you keep me up there? Why did you do that? And he's like, well, you know what you are. And so that's when you start realizing that she is obviously a wildling. And what are these wildlings? They are a humanoid species that are a whole lot more animalistic like than we are. They look very much like a werewolf, but at the same time not. They look like they look like a human werewolf mix is what they look like. And she is changing into that. Ray ends up helping her escape. She actually locks Ellen in the cage, in the cell, and helps her escape. Is my lights flickering? They are. Is the power fisting to go out? Just because the wind blows? Anyway, I'll have to do this all over again. So, Ray shows up, helps her escape. They go out into the woods where she's changing even more. And they end up, she ends up, they end up screwing. There you go. And that Gabe and that deputy, they are all in it together. See, it turns out that back then, when he got her 16 years ago, they had went on a wildling hunt. So there was an entire population of these wildlings, and these guys, Gabe being the leader, thinks they're evil and all of that, and so they had killed all of them. And Gabe, for some reason, could not kill the baby that one of them was holding when it killed her. So he took the baby instead, and I guess he thought he would somehow stop her from changing. So it explained all of it. The attempt to stop her from maturing, all of this. It was not his daughter. It was a wildling. And he thought he could somehow stop it by using that medication. Very, very strange. And he even said that he was too soft-hearted, that he should have killed her when she was a baby. So, they're tracking them. You get to see a lot of cool deaths when she's finally through with this shit. You know what I mean? because now she's in full survival mode, and there is a lot of really, really good action when she is picking them off one by one in her wildling ways. And there are several times when they almost get her. There's the final showdown. Like I say, you have to see it to see the cool ways that she takes them out one by one. But the final showdown, they set this whole area on fire around this cave where the wildlings lived. But she managed to find her way in there. Gabe and her then have this sort of final showdown where he's going to kill her, but she's pregnant, right? Because you have to remember, all of this is all taking place over months and months of time. So she's, about 5 months pregnant, something like that. So not only is she protecting herself, but she's protecting her child, which is from Ray, right? Which is probably the reason why she did it. Repopulate the species, you know what I mean? So they have this really cool showdown where she wins, of course. And you see Ray and Ellen out there, and they see her. She lets them see her out in the distance and gives them sort of like facial expression and stuff, because now she's completely changed. She's like hairy, and she's got these wicked eyes, and she's got the nails and the claws and all of that, but she's still very, very human like. And she hangs around out there at the edges of the woods until she gets Ray and Ellen's attention, sort of letting them see that she is okay. I'm still alive. I'm okay. And then she runs off. So she goes to where she had talked about earlier, and that is, and I don't know where this movie takes place, but she wants to go to where the Northern Lights are. So I imagine she made her way to Alaska or Canada or something like that. And the movie ends with her looking up at the Aurora Borealis and sitting holding her baby. And I guess she's got the fur to live in that climate, right? But you get to see her there. And like I said, you have to see it to see what an interesting werewolf-like creature that they made. It's not a lycanthrope because it doesn't change at the full moon. It can't change from other. It is what it is. It's just a humanoid, wolf-like humanoid. That's what that breed is. And I would really like a lot more information about that species. I wish they would, I wish Liv Tyler would do another one, and like give us more about these wildlings. So yeah, that's Wildling. Great ending. Brad Dourif was great. Liv Tyler was great. The movie was just really awesome and kept me really engaged, and I liked something new, and it was definitely something new. Looking at the tags, body horror, yeah, there's some of that. Coming of age, folk horror, supernatural horror, drama, fantasy, horror, thriller. I don't really see any thriller about it, but supernatural, no. Folk horror, fantasy folk horror is what I would call it, with some body horror. That's what I would generalize it, if that's the way you want to put it. But yeah, great bloody scenes. I don't know how Liv Tyler found this movie, but she liked the script and all enough to be the sole producer of creating this film. And I'm telling you, it's really worth it. So let me know if you've seen Wildling. Brad Dourif. This is the Scream Factory version. Very, very cool. Really enjoyed it. And I will see you in the next one. Love you, miss you. Bye-bye. Always remember, you are very special. No matter what anybody says to you, you're a very special person, even if you are not a wildling. And I will see you in the next thing. Night night. So glad that you stopped by and gave me some of your time. I hope I turn you on to some new movies to check out, and hope that you like them. And I will see you in the next. Bye-bye.